Do you want to introduce yourself then?
Yeah, so I'm just gonna go off my Instagram just because
Yeah,
that's
go for it.
the easiest thing for me,
Yeah.
like where I do most of um any I don't know public stuff. So it's BlastyQueen for our Instagram, the one and only.
Right on. So
Except
is
for
so is Blastoise your favorite Pokemon then?
yes, yeah, Blastoise has always been my favorite Pokemon, and I have a weird story for that,
Ooh,
but we'll probably get questions later.
right on, right on. All right. Well, since this is just about mainly about errors and stuff, how did you get into how did you find out about errors and like start collecting them and that kind of thing?
Yeah, so weirdly, I found my first error on my own, just like when I first got into collecting, I think re-getting into collecting,
Right.
I think about maybe 14 years ago
Oh
ish.
wow.
Maybe 12 to 14, somewhere in there. And I
Awesome.
started recollecting. I wanted to, of course, finish the base set because I think that's where we all start. That's
Yeah, yeah,
all of us.
exactly.
So I started with the base set. I finished it, and then or at least finished the hollows or
hmm
what have you. And then I started kind of flipping through them, and I noticed that like my Blastoise had like, or no, the Raichu.
Uh-huh.
I noticed that the Raichu, I'm really checking it out. I haven't graded anything yet, so I'm like, let me see if it's grade worthy. Blah blah blah. Blast some light on it. It had like hollow bleed, pretty like
Oh,
extreme.
sweet.
And
Oh yeah.
what the heck? It's like, and I looked at all the other cards, and none of them had it. So I was like, okay, this is kind of weird. And then eventually I found a Blastoise that had it like in a store because I started looking for them, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And this is before bleeds became an error. Like people were not looking for hollow bleeds. Like this was probably one of the first instances that I did eventually make it public.
hmm
So I did a couple of live booster box openings at the time, and I was like, guys, look at this like hollow bleed Raichu. Like, has anyone seen this? And everybody was like, no, like I never. That's pretty cool. And
Wow, that's
so it kind of
sick. So it's like that
so
was
inspired.
almost like the exact start of the errors there. So was that around the same time when the Facebook error group was kind of made, or was that way before that kind of too?
So it was probably I think the error group is 7 or 6 years old now. So it was like a few years before that
Oh
was
yeah.
made. Um, I do want to preference that saying I did not create the error group,
Oh, okay.
but I was first, few thousand people that were in there
Right on.
from the beginning. But I created somebody else did.
Oh, okay. Who was the one that created it?
His name is Still.
Oh, okay.
He's still an admin in there.
Yeah.
He actually big into Magic the Gathering and errors with that.
Ah.
I don't think he really likes Pokemon that much. At least that's what he said. And error group for Magic and was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I'll just make one for Pokemon. It's not going to go anywhere." Lo and behold, it has like 80,000 people in it now. So
Oh, it's insane. It makes I don't even like yeah, it I don't even know how that happened. Like it's crazy. Like I remember when I joined the group it was around like 40,000 or so and now it's like doubled. It's like what? It's
even
cool that a lot
40,000.
of people are really enjoying Airs though. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, even for 40,000, still was like when he made it, he was literally like people in Pokemon don't like errors, kind of like sports. Sports
Right?
doesn't like errors.
Yeah, yeah.
This is the same concept. Like it's gonna go nowhere.
Mm.
And I mean, even at 40, he was like, "This is the max. This is the biggest we're gonna get probably." And
And it just
it's
keeps
just it's
climbing.
huge.
So how do you feel about it getting so much popular and more people going after Airs and now us that like collecting these errors, it's harder for us to get them, and if we can get them, usually they're a bit more pricey.
Yeah, for
How
sure.
do you feel about that?
I mean, yeah, honestly, I am a huge advocate on people having more knowledge and more experience and more understanding about it.
hmm
Not only to help some people who don't know about them make more money, so to speak, it helps the people who don't know about them and selling their own product not like lose out on money that they could be getting. So
So true.
ever since I've been a huge advocate of just like trying to share the information, trying to make people aware about it. trying to make people aware about the fakes that could be made. Like that
Right.
was my biggest contribution to the group. I think is that I was very big on that from the beginning. Um, we try not to like allow fakes and stuff in the group.
Hmm.
Even if people are trying to like prove that they can make it, we let the information be there, but we don't want people to like replicate stuff. So, but I'm big on all of that, and I think it's a good thing for the community that people know what's out there for this, as niche as it may be or may not be anymore with the 80,000 people.
Yeah.
But you know, I think it's good for the community. People should.
Right on.
It opens it for more collectors, which just opens it up for more errors to be found, and it just opens it up.
Exactly. Yeah, that like almost brings me to the next point of like recently with like all these people coming out with these crazy uncut sheets and like the prototypes, the alphas, the betas, the delta. Do you see the delta? What even is the delta? I don't even know. How do you feel about all that stuff coming out recently?
I don't really have too much of an opinion on it. I'm not like a huge test print or like collector when it comes to that kind of stuff, just
Hmm.
because a lot of it's behind closed doors. It's a lot of it's
Yeah.
secret. It's so much. They're so expensive that it really prices a lot of people out. And
Yeah.
I'm more into the community aspect of it, building relationships,
Absolutely.
meeting new things and stuff like that. Kind of turns into like I don't want to say like black market, but it's like really hush hush on the back end. And
Yeah.
it's not for me. Other people seem to like it, so.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. That is very fair. Yeah, I still have they come out with information of like where those cards and that kind of thing have came from yet? Or is that still all
I
hush
know,
hush?
yeah, I don't think CGC is on who's grading them.
Hmm.
They did mention that they're going to, or they mentioned that they did their background work on it
Yep.
apparently, but they haven't said what the background work was. So
Right. Yeah,
I
that's yeah.
personally know. I don't know the ins and outs of any of that, and it's probably because I don't collect it. If I
Yeah.
collected, I might have it, but I don't. So
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, no. That all those ones are just like so wild to me how like just within like 3 weeks what's the guy's name? Benjamin posted like these uncut sheets of all these cards, and then all the super high-end collectors are now like, "Whoa, my card is like not that rare anymore because of stuff like this."
yeah, yeah, that's kind of the downfall. I mean, the negative side effect of it is that like they pop out of nowhere, and you're kind of just like, oh, okay, like now it's something else I have to collect. But for specifically those, like the alpha, beta, and delta stuff, like nobody, not a normal, not like normal average people are going to be able to afford them
No,
anyways. So
no, not so
it's not.
much. Me, I'll probably never see one of those in my hands in my life, but it's nice to look at online.
Maybe, maybe one day on middleman one. That'll be the closest I'll ever get to it. Maybe.
Yeah, or maybe at a show. Maybe see it at a show sometime. But you never
Yeah,
know.
that too. That's great. Collecticon one year.
I gotta go to a Collecticon still. I've never been to a Collecticon, but that's mainly because there's like none in Canada. So it's like gotta make my way over to the States if I wanted to.
Yeah, they have them in sometimes. I think San Francisco, so that would
Oh,
be the
okay.
closest. I think maybe west part of Canada, right?
Yeah, I'm in Vancouver.
Yeah, yeah. So
So
San
yes,
Francisco would be your. I
that would
still
be
think that's like 20 hours.
something like that. Something like that. But maybe a
Yeah.
road trip would be fun. You never know.
Yeah.
Maybe if we get like you know, it'd be so cool if we did like that meetup for if World, because Worlds is happening in Anaheim next year, correct?
Yep.
That would be so cool if we had like a bunch of people all link up and stuff for at Anaheim. That would be epic.
And I've heard that there's like a quote unquote like a black market like sale thing that happens behind the building. So even if you don't get Worlds tickets, you could still like meet up and hang out and like go to like a little
Okay.
black market thing.
Oh
So,
yeah.
because I know Worlds tickets sometimes, like some people just can't even score those or they're too
Really?
expensive in themselves.
Oh
Yeah.
man, I've never actually looked at like pricing or trying to get tickets for that before. I didn't know it was such a competitive field.
I think what are they called? Geez, like when you just watch. I
Oh,
forget they're
spectator
called. They're not
pass?
spectator pass. I've
Mm.
never been to a world. I've heard that they can be kind of tough. So
Oh yeah.
either way, though, we're going to do the black market thing, regardless if I get world spectator passes or not.
Yeah. Yeah, the black market's the way to go for that, I think. So you said your favorite Pokemon was Blastoise. What was that story that you had with that? I
So
love hearing the stories tied to cards and stuff because it just makes it so much more like personable and relatable and just more I don't know. I just love hearing that kind of stuff.
So I always pick Blastoise in the games because he was apparently supposedly the hardest one to kind of like level up. I think the his levels took longer than Charizard or Venusaur for whatever
Oh.
reason,
Oh, interesting.
and
Okay.
that like leech seed kind of, I don't want to call it a glitch, but like that you could like beat the whole game with like leech seed with Venusaur basically,
Oh yeah.
or actually I think you could Ivysaur. Um, and then Charizard was just like such a tank that he just like it was like he leveled up the quickest. He was a tank. He was the easiest to beat the game with. So
And
like I
everybody
like a
just loves
challenge,
Charizard.
right? And that too is kind of like I like dragons and Charizard too. Even dragon, I like them too, but not like
Gotta be
Blastoise.
different. Yep.
Yeah,
Right on.
but I was kind of like going towards Charizard like as my favorite with cards. Like I was gonna
Mm,
collect the cards of Charizard just because of how popular they were, and it just kind of made sense. And there were
right.
so many of them to a challenge. But then I started seeing again once the Hollow Bleed stuff happened with the
Yeah.
Raichu and Blast. I started going down this path of collecting like Blastoise errors, and it
Yep.
because it was my favorite. And then I started realizing Blastoise base set has like the most errors out of all of the other cards. You know, there's the
Yeah,
stage
very
error,
true.
like the illustrator. It's
The
just like
red dot.
insane.
Yeah, there's
Right.
so many.
So many. So I was like, yeah, that's really cool. And then I just kind of built from there. Everything was Blastoise for me
And
from
then
there.
BlastyQueen was born.
Yeah.
Right on. So, now for the big hitters. Would you like to share some of your favorite errors that you collected?
Yeah, I only brought a couple up that would kind of be like cool on camera,
Yep.
so to speak.
Do you have
And
any
then I
that have
brought
like a story tied to them too? Because I know
a
some
so,
people have cards and they have like, oh, I had to go and ship it to my buddy here, and then his mom had to go and pick it up from his apartment and then ship it to me. You know, like something like that.
yeah, so some of them do have some pretty cool stories. Let me
Oh,
pull
sweet.
some out. So I'll do the Charizards first, just because I kind of like I went down this like weird rabbit hole.
Hmm.
And it started with this one. You can't really see the grade, but
Oh, yeah.
bottom. So this one,
Love
and then I
fat
went
bottoms. Who doesn't love fat bottoms?
right, and then me, I love fat. And then I went and got like
Oh,
all of the works of them. They all have fat bottoms, but it
hell yeah.
started with the shadow. And how that started was somebody by the name of Bodangers,
Hmm.
Bonnie Day. She had a shadowless one that
Yep.
wasn't graded, but it was mint perfect, and it was miscut like or off center like that. It showed the alignment dot,
Oh yeah.
and I was like, man, one. She wouldn't sell me hers, unfortunately, because
Yeah.
been best, but
Hmm.
we're kind of close. So I wanted a shadowless to match hers, and so I just bought the shadowless, and then it kind of started buying all the others, and it
Yep.
kind of
Yep.
snowballed.
Oh, that's how it always happens. Oh yeah. Yep.
Jealous, coolest freaking off center card ever.
Yeah, I think I've gotta say I think miscuts have gotta be my favorite type of error. What would be your favorite type of error?
I personally like ink errors,
Oh
kind
yeah.
of like yeah, they're definitely gonna be my favorite. That's why my whole base set. So like these guys, like these weird
Oh
things.
yes, those ones are sweet. The heavy hitter ones like that when you can like see it right away.
Yeah, yeah. Anything that like catches my eye, like with the printing process that happens, like where my eyes like you cannot miss it. It's like it's there, boom in
Yeah.
your face. Those are the ones I try to go after.
Hmm.
But I have a spot for just ink errors in general. So even like little tiny printer hickeys, like I even
Oh
like
yeah.
those little ones. So
Oh yeah. No,
yeah,
like the other day when I went to a trading card shop and was just flipping through bulk and everything, I found two energies at like the most small hickey at the top, and I'm like, let's go, let's go. I was so happy.
you can find them in the wild. So for me, it's always going to be my favorite, especially like you said, going through bulk. Like that's I could sit there for hours and find a
Same.
couple printer hickeys, and
Yep.
I walk away with something. You
Yep.
know.
Yep. That's what yeah, no, honestly sorting through bulk and stuff, it's just so like relaxing, and you're like, it just like you're just praying that you're gonna be finding one little error of something, and then when you do, oh, such a good feeling.
Yeah. Sometimes you get lucky and you find like a defending Beedrill or something, and it's
True.
$300. So
True. True. Very true. Have you ever found like a super crazy error when you were going and sorting through bulk or anything like that?
so the rarest thing I would say that I found, I did find two pre-release Clefables once, or not once,
Oh.
but twice.
Oh, that's pretty
Um,
awesome.
one was like really clean, and the other one wasn't. And I found them at like regular Clefable prices. They were like $5 or something. So that was really
What?
cool.
Damn, that's a
Yeah.
steal.
How did I miss this, dude? It's like stamped on there,
Yeah,
pretty, like.
it's pretty obvious, but hey, can't complain, can't complain.
And then recently, I think like 4 or 5 months ago, I found my first defending Beedrill, and that's something I look for like everywhere I go. I'm like, do you have any Beedrills in base set? Can I see them? Like, and I finally found one at Frank and Sons about 4 or 5 months ago.
Hell yeah.
Um, and it's like 30 Beedrills, and I found one. I was like over the moon. And then last week, I found an Evolution Box War Turtle for the first time ever, and I always look
No
for those too.
way, really? Oh, that's so
And
cool.
it's like nine worthy. It's pretty clean, so that made me happy.
That's epic.
But outside of four cards, not anything huge, but I find small ones, and I tend to like offer them to the group at usually a pretty good price.
Yeah, yeah.
Find a
I
lot of Diglett sideways
Oh,
fighting energy ones.
oh
They
yeah, no. I mean, yeah, like I went through one bulk thing at one shop and found six of them.
right. I know, and then I always sell them to the group for like $5 to $10 or something stupid cheap because they're usually like 15 or 20, and I'm
Yeah.
always like, let me give them to the group for like discount it.
Yep.
Like,
Yep. That's what I love about having like the group is just being able to have that whole community vibe, and like everybody is so kind to each other. That's why I love the error community. I feel like majority of the people in the community, there are some people, not gonna name any names here, um, but most people are pretty kind and want to just support each other's collections and stuff, and that is super awesome to me.
yeah, I agree with that. There are some, just like in any Facebook is just kind of can be a cesspool sometimes,
Oh,
but
oh yeah,
with any group, yeah. But I agree with that. The error community, it's like so tight knit, and it's almost like the people that are in the error community never truly leave fully. They always, to some degree, have like a soft spot for
yeah,
errors, even if they sell their whole collection. They sell their whole error collection. They're only in it for the profit. Something about it just kind of like sucks people in.
yeah.
I think I personally truly believe that what sucks you in is that it makes you feel closer to the cards or closer to Pokemon by understanding
The way it's
the
printed and
weird mystery.
stuff. Yeah,
Right. And like celebrities, you get like a celebrity to sign something, it makes you feel closer to the celebrity. So
absolutely, yeah.
I really think people outside of like getting illustrators to sign their cards, I'm sure that does the same feeling, but errors are a good way for everyone to get that, not
Exactly.
just get illustrators.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
what would be one card that you own, era card that you own, that you would never part ways with? Like it's your soulmate, it goes with you to the grave. Like for me, for example, my inverted stamp Dragonite, that's like the only
Um,
card I own that I'm like, you know what? That's gonna just stay with me forever.
um, I don't have one of those anymore,
Oh.
just because I I had one,
Hmm.
and it was the and Red Dot PSA 10. I had both of them.
Oh yeah.
Um, Blastoise. And I think the stage error is like a pop five of the PSA 10,
Damn.
and then I think the red pop two or something. At the time, it was a pop one
Yeah, I remember. I remember
because
when
the
you posted, and I was everybody was like, "Holy shnikes!" I remember when you posted, I was like, "That's insane."
my third PSA 10 red dot ever, and the other two have never been converted over to the new labels, so
Mm,
they're still like out there, just normal PSA 10s, but they're red dots. So that was my third one owning it. But
damn.
if I had colors, those would have been the two cards that I would have never, especially the stage error, I would have never sold because there's only five of them,
Yeah,
and I'll never get that back kind of thing. And when I
yeah.
bought it, I think like 700 or 600 on it. It was like 10 years ago or something.
Hmm.
It was a long time, at least 5 years ago. I think I spent like 600 or 700 on it. I think they're like up to 20 or $30,000 now. So it's like I will never ever
Holy
own.
smokes for the 10, hey?
Yeah, I think one sold
Wow.
last year. I think 25 or 30. So now it's like it's been a year since any of them have been sold.
Hmm.
So now it's kind of like who knows what the price? It might be up to 50 grand now. I'm never gonna own it again. So
That is crazy. I had no idea that the market was like that on those ones. Wow.
yeah,
Well, I guess I
Beta
mean
Pop.
it's so rare, especially in those high grades. Like it's like yeah, the odds of finding that card in such a good condition for how old they are, it's like damn near
Yeah,
impossible. Yeah.
and age error has always been recognized by PSA. So whatever
Yep.
the pop report, pretty accurate with it. It's the red
Mm,
dot that just authenticated like a year or two ago.
right.
So those are kind of like those numbers are a little off. There's probably a lot more of them than what the pop report says. But the
Yeah.
stage error, the pop five, that's pretty much what we're gonna get. If somebody grades another one, it's gonna be really really impossible.
Yeah. So you
But
just
that
ended up selling them just because you were in a bit of a pickle spot, or what was the story with that?
yeah, it actually literally put a roof over my head at the time.
Fair enough. Yeah,
I
I mean that makes yeah, that's fair. That is very valid.
Yeah, and at the time I had a whole PSA 1 through 10 set of the red dot, the stage error, base unlimited, fourth print. I almost finished the fourth print, and then shadowless, and then I had the 1 through 9 on first edition.
Oh my
I didn't have.
goodness.
I almost finished like the whole
The
set of
whole
Blastoise
Blastoise set. Oh my gosh, that would have been a crazy photo to have.
photos left, but not like I didn't take a ton of them back then, just because it wasn't like But anyway, so my we had a storm come through, and I used to live in Maryland. I'm
Hmm.
now in California, so I don't have to worry about tornadoes anymore.
Well,
But
that's very
a,
good.
a tornado happened and kind of like damaged our roof, and the insurance wouldn't cover it
Oh
for
man,
whatever. That it wasn't like damaged enough, but it was leaking water into our house, so it was definitely damaged.
typical insurance
And
companies.
right. And it was like a $30,000 fix. And at the time, it was before COVID, before the big boom, before these
Mm,
cards were worth like tens of thousands.
yep.
And I whole Blastoise collection, all of those that I just said, pretty much for about 30,000, a little over $30,000. So
Yeah.
paid for anything else that we needed that year. And
I mean, that's pretty
if I would,
awesome that you were able to survive like that off of just having the collection of air Pokemon cards. I mean, come on, you can't go wrong with that. That just proves the dedication to air collecting, and I love that.
right. And if I was a millionaire or a billionaire, I would try to buy all of. That would be the set that I would buy back and display on a big wall of beautiful water blueness
Oh yeah.
along the way.
Oh, I could only imagine. It'd be so cool. I just love nerding out over this stuff. I'm sorry.
It is all good.
So you were talking about PSA for a majority of the cards that you have graded. Do you prefer PSA over CGC for grading for error cards?
I don't usually grade my errors. If
Mm,
I have graded errors, usually I'm buying them already graded
gotcha.
typically. But it really depends. Things like the stage error, red dot blastoise, things that are acknowledged by PSA, I'm more times than not going to go through PSA
Yeah.
just in case I sell them or just in case, you just get the most value out of
Yeah,
it, really.
absolutely, yeah. It's so well known and yeah, it just makes most sense.
Right. But like that's kind of more recent just because PSA recently started grading more errors.
Hmm.
Previously to that, it would have always pretty much been CGC because PSA never recognized the errors,
Yeah.
so it was just the grade. And a
Yeah, and
lot of
then
the
they
times they
always deducted the grade because of the error. Yeah.
so then it was like I'm not gonna grade through them. But now it's like I will. However, I will say that I've noticed with like the Rainbow Dragonair, right?
Yep.
The base set Dragonair that can be like the Rainbow Air on the
Hmm.
Shadowless or First Edition.
Yep.
Um, they still ding the grades for
Really?
errors, but they just now label. So I've sent the
Huh.
Dragonair in 5 times,
Hmm.
and I've not marked it as an error 3 of those times, and it got like a PSA 8, I believe, 2 times, and then once it got a 9. And then I've sent it in 2 or 3 times marked as an error, and it would only come back as a PSA 6 or 7. So I was like, okay,
What?
like,
Oh
you're definitely.
my. Those pesky little graders, eh? Oh
And I don't
man.
know what I don't. Maybe they're just harder on errors. I don't know, but it's definitely a thing. But I personally prefer PSA over CGC for especially since they changed their labels and now they don't do perfects. Like that was the
Mm.
thing that I liked about CGC was their perfect grades.
Yeah.
Just and now that they don't have that, I don't think there's much value. Personally, I don't think there's much value left in CGC.
Fair. That is very fair. I also miss having the freaking subgrades. I don't know why,
All right,
but I'm just like a butthurt for having that extra words on the label.
that too. That's what I mean. Your only choice now is BGS, and I hate their cases. They're so big. Like,
So big and chunky and the corners are too sharp and yeah, no. And they take
yeah,
way longer than everybody else to grade too, and it's like, okay.
yeah, and their customer service is shit too. So I
Oh,
just
is it?
don't. I mean, yeah, it's really bad. There's been a couple of times I lost some cards, and it's like impossible to like get somebody on the phone and talk to
No
somebody about
way,
it.
really? Oh, that is brutal. Jeez. Wait, where's Beckett based? Are they in aren't they in Texas or something?
I think they're Arizona or Texas, one
Arizona?
of those
Yeah.
dry southern states.
Yeah, yeah. Hmm. That's crazy. Wow, I didn't yeah, I've never actually subbed to Beckett before just because of always heard bad things about them with like their grading and everything, but anyways, we're gonna just skim past that. But
Cases that they're crystal clear. I think those that's really I like that the way it looks. PSA
yeah,
has like the fog or whatever, and I hate
yep,
that fog, but and the red label kind of is ugly. I like the baby blue is a little bit more sightly, and then like now they have what the black or whatever.
yeah, yeah. No,
But
I miss that blue label, honestly.
I like either one, but I
Yeah,
don't like the way I really only grade through them because of value. So
fair, fair, very fair. So how did you get into the error group on Facebook? Like, and you're a mod on like multiple other big groups too. Like, how did you get into all that?
I don't I don't remember how I got into the Facebook error group or like what started that. I'm sure I had the Blastoise Hollow Bleed and I was like, oh, let me see if there's more of these. And I
Right?
like searched it. I don't even remember how I became one of the admins there. It was so like I don't. I probably reached out to Joe or Still and was like, "Hey, like you guys, I think it had like 5,000 or 10,000 members or something."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Hey, you guys could and I already was in there for a couple. You guys could probably use some help. Like I could help." And I was very very active
Yep.
with the little amount of membership, just like helping people find errors, helping people know what the errors are, and like helping people decipher which errors were fake and stuff like that. I was just
Yep.
very big into that scene. So it just kind of naturally happened, I think.
Yeah.
The other, I admin a couple of other groups that are like 70,000 or 80,000 plus members.
Yeah.
Those just kind of probably the same thing naturally happened. I was just very active in those specific groups.
Yeah.
The Pokemon Market, that one I admin because it was the safest non-scam involving group. Like all the
Mm.
other groups just had a scammers.
Oh, there's
So I
so
really,
many in those. So many.
and it's even today, like the bots and stuff and like the fake accounts are just
Oh
like
yeah.
so impossible nowadays that it's like there's just so many.
Yeah.
Some groups buy membership to get more active, like to make it look like they have a bigger membership to make their group more valuable. So
Oh. Yeah, yeah.
some groups do that. Hard to tell what's trustworthy.
Mm.
And the group that I picked to like really kind of like make it better was Pokemon Marketplace. And I did that because I actually used to admin the Pokemon trade feedback and the Pokemon scam complaints. I used to like help with their pages
Mhm.
and like kind of catch scammers and bring them to light and warn people about them and kick them out of groups. And Marketplace needed some help because they had a scam problem before, and the guy who owned it was from Canada. He was really nice.
Yep.
Um, and it just kind of ended up being, after a couple of years of adminning that, at about 30, 40,000 members, he was like, "I'm having a baby," like he kind of passed the group off to me. So I ended up being the owner of the group for a while. And then we grew that one from 30 to 40 to about, I think we're at like 85,000 now or something like that.
That is
So we doubled,
insane.
and it was all just to keep it a safe group, like a
Yep.
safe, welcoming, friendly was our only motto. Oh,
Yep.
and to support heavily support artists and art in that group. So like that was our motto: support art, keep it safe, keep it humble, keep it friendly,
Yep.
keep it inclusive for all, like keep it equal for all. That was our biggest motto, and it just that alone grew it.
Oh
So
yeah. You see, this is why I'm so happy people like you are in this community because you are just like such a bright light of like being helpful and kind and actually caring about the community and wanting people to be their best in it. And no, I'm stoked to have people like you in this community.
yeah, I mean, I definitely couldn't do it alone though. It's like everybody else that's part of part of it, and
Yeah.
everybody that tries to keep it, that's my biggest thing is just have a good time. Like work might suck, your home life might suck, whatever might suck, and people come to these groups to like kind of get away from that
Escape.
to a
Yeah.
sense.
Hmm.
You know, I'm good because they like it, whatever the reason may be. And I hate how the internet has just turned into this like negative, nasty thing in some cases, and
Yeah.
I just want people can go that's like safe and nice and positive and not like everybody being mean to each other. So
Totally agree.
I try that anyways, I have my
Yeah.
days too. I have days off.
Everybody has their days. That's just part of the life. Well, that pretty much concludes all the main questions and stuff that I wanted to ask. Do you have any other stuff that you want to add?
No, I mean other than your questions are great, man. I think your content, so videos that you put out on YouTube already, they're really, really good.
Well, thank you. I
Um,
appreciate that.
so yeah, I think you're on to something, which is why, I wanted to be a part of this with you actually so bad anyways, was because I saw your other I was like, this is great. So
Oh yeah.
and need more voices in the error community. So
Yeah.
it's cool you're doing this.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely want to bring more light to the air community. I feel like bringing in more people, and then we get more of these people that have their collections hidden away. We get to maybe see a couple more shifts pop up, or any of the the big boy stuff. But
We're feet here soon. I can feel it.
alrighty. Well, thank you so much for coming on and talking about your collection and your experiences in the community and everything. I really appreciate that, and being the first one to hop on the interviews. And yeah.